I just love money, and well, everyone does, right? But what I mean by this is I love the concept of money. तदबीर से बिगड़ी हुई तकदीर बना ले. तदबीर is planning and तकदीर is luck. So तदबीर से बिगड़ी हुई तकदीर बना ले है खुद पे भरोसा तो ये दाव लगा ले. Which essentially means that you have been planning for long, right? And things probably have not worked the way you wanted it to be. So stop planning and just trust your instinct and take that plunge. Things will fall in place. I think user is the king, right? Customer is the king. He has decided, then there must be a reason that this must be more efficient than the existing systems. We know about the financial literacy rates in India. We know the kind of penetration that we have. Despite all this big banks, the chain of distributors, agents, and all of that being there for so long, there are some jobs getting displaced and all. But I think it is going to create much more jobs than it is going to displace. The distant dream which was there that you want to take financial education, financial products to the last mile, be it in let's say tier 3, tier 4 town and all of that, is not very far now.
Hello everyone and welcome to yet another episode of House of Equentis podcast. Today we have Rakesh Bhunatar, who's the founder at Pi, which is a fintech app. And let me just first introduce all of you to Rakesh. So Rakesh, IIT, IIM, 10 years in investment banking, and then Pi. Could you just take us through the highlights of this interesting journey?
Sure. Great. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. It's been a great journey, very long, but equally interesting. My journey in finance became, in fact, I would say I just love money, and well, everyone does, right? But what I mean by this is I love the concept of money, the concept of transactions, why people are transacting with each other. What do they really think? What kind of negotiations they are doing when they are transacting, and especially when the product is money. Like when I'm giving money to you, what am I expecting in terms of, let's say, the risk, in terms of the time value of money, all of that. So that came very naturally to me, and that's how my journey in finance began. It's been pretty cool.
So how was it conceptualized? Was it conceptualized in your IIT days or when you were graduating, or maybe, when you were spending time as an investment banker? When did it hit you that, okay, let me just think about launching Pi or something like that?
Launching Pi, I really wanted to launch something for the retail investors in India who really do not have access to good quality financial advice. And this thought was there with me since last maybe 6-7 years. I always wanted to do it, but the idea was I wanted to do it at a very, very personalized level, unlike anything else which is there in the market currently. These are very, very generic advices which are available. Nobody is talking to you as in like what really you need, what is there in your portfolio right now. And it's not just about investments, like what is your age, what is your income, what kind of family situations you are in, and accordingly advising the client. That is what I wanted to do at scale. Right, but for that, I was waiting for the right kind of technology so that I can reach to people at scale with that kind of personalization. And very recently, after the recent developments in AI, I think this was the chance to really work on what I have been thinking for so long, and that's when we started Pi.
Nice. So how's been this transition from being an employee to now being an entrepreneur? I'm sure it's been exciting, but if you could just help some budding entrepreneurs out there with some maybe 3 or 4 top tips, how should they go about it?
So this transition was, obviously it is a little different, but even during my employment days, I think I was equally, interested in whatever I was doing, because like I just said, I love this concept of money and finance, and fortunately I got to spend all my time during my employment in this field only. So I've been loving it. So yeah, that's where I kind of thought of jumping into this, jumping to start Pi. Now, what I can advise to the budding entrepreneurs who are willing to start their own, I think I'll just say, just do it. There are, if you think that there is some idea which you really believe in, which you think the world really needs, then just go ahead and do it. In fact, I'll just quote a beautiful Hindi line from a Hindi song from a very old movie. It was, I think, a black and white movie starring Devanand Saab. The song goes like this: तदबीर से बिगड़ी हुई तकदीर बना ले. Tadbir is planning and takdeer is luck. So तदबीर से बिगड़ी हुई तकदीर बना ले, है खुद पे भरोसा तो ये दाव लगा ले. Which essentially means that, you have been planning for long, right? And things probably have not worked the way you wanted it to be. So stop planning and, just trust your instinct and take that plunge. Things will fall in place.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful thought. And on that note, I believe the key takeaway for all the budding entrepreneurs out there is don't just keep thinking about it. If you really believe in something, you will have to take that leap of faith, right? And hope is never a strategy. And I think it equally applies to someone in an employment versus being an entrepreneur. But still, I also have believed always that if you keep on hoping that some good day will come, I think tomorrow is gonna be even difficult than today.
Absolutely.
And of course, today is more challenging than yesterday. So definitely taking that leap of faith helps. Okay, Rakesh, quickly, if you could just summarize what exactly does Pi does and how does it help the people who are wanting to participate or wanting to up their games in the financial markets.
Sure. So we have this feature, this product called Pi Chat. It's an AI.
Pi Chat.
Yeah, Pi Chat.
Okay.
Okay. It's an AI tool with which you can interact. You can ask queries on anything related to your money, and that's one of our taglines, like answers to all things money. So whatever you have to ask about your personal finance, including investments, insurance, loans, you ask it, and it is going to give you a very personalized answer. Now let me explain that with some examples so that it becomes more clear. You just want to buy some stock, and you're thinking, should I not? Let's say you just ask this to Pi that, okay, should I buy HDFC Bank? Now the model is going to do multiple things to answer this question.
Is it built on ChatGPT or some open source like that?
It's built on open source LLM models. Now that is just the base in terms of inferencing the language part of it. But on top of that, we have customized our own model for the financial intelligence. We have our own set of data of financial queries and the answers to it. Then we have also synthesized a lot of user data, which has been also customized for the personal and emotional preferences of Indians at large. And with all of that data, this model is trained. And therefore, the kind of answers that you will get from our model is going to be very, very different that you can get from any other model in the world. Let's be it ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever. So there is a lot of financial context here, and not just that context, but like I said, personal preferences, emotional preferences of Indians, all of that is also taken into account.
Just curious, I'm aware that ChatGPT or maybe Bard for that matter, it's essentially the whole world's data, but I'm hearing it for the first time, and like I said, just being curious that how do you get this emotional preference or the cultural thread out, and what's the source of this data that you're talking about specifically for India? Because I think in Indian context things are completely different as compared to the rest of the globe. So how do you do that? What's the source?
So like I said, we have synthesized data around it. How we have done is, we have studied, we have taken a lot of studies and research and reports. Basis that, let's say a person in Punjab, what are his kind of preferences? What is general family size there? What kind of, let's say what kind of weddings these guys are having? What kind of, you can say the houses, investments in houses or any other assets that they're doing versus let's go to South, let's say in Tamil Nadu or Kerala, what these guys are doing. So all of that has been taken from all this research, reports, studies. All of that has also been given as a context to the model while being trained. So that helps in, like for example, one of the questions, and it's not just about investments. Let's say you just ask this question that should I buy a house or should I rent a house, right? This is a very standard personal finance question, and if you ask, generally right now, if you Google or you go around, let's say some fin influencers channel or these are all very generic advice that you will get. So nobody is going to say that, okay, what should Alok really do? So like, let's say, if you ask this question, Alok is asking this question that should I buy or rent a house? The model is going to tell that, okay, Alok, let's say you're staying in Pune. So in Pune, these are the property prices for you. These are the rental prices for you. We are fetching that data as well. And then also, okay, Alok is from Pune. What kind of investments right now Alok is making? Like basically, what is the opportunity cost of money for Alok?
So the solution is essentially a consultative solutioning.
It's a very consultative solutioning, taking into account your data. Okay.
Okay.
Where are you staying? What is the rental that you have to pay? What is the in the area that you're staying? What are the kind of property prices? That is just one part. Then let's say the
So you
same guy who's
proactively seek this information from the user, or
we proactively seek, we take their consent to get access to all of this information. And like I said, we have done some integrations, like the account aggregator is there, which is a recent concept by RBI. So we have done those kind of integrations from where I get the assets part of your data, right? And let's say you give me that consent, then I also know what kind of investments you're making, what is that opportunity cost of money for you. Now that is different for me, it is different for Alok, right? And therefore the answer to this question is going to be different for each of us. You can't generally say that, okay, just rent the house, buying the house is not good. No, it's not always like that. And other thing also, like I said, even the personal preferences are going to be taken into account. I am not always going to, as a financial advisor, I can just always say that, okay, don't spend, don't do all of this, save all money. No, but that's not right, right? Ultimately you are saving and investing money for your own self, or probably your next generation, but you need to have a right balance of the two. So you can ask these questions, and the model is going to take into account that how is your financials positioned as of now. Let's say I want to buy a car today. The standard traditional personal finance will say, okay, don't buy a car, maybe invest in a mutual fund, or maybe invest in Maruti Suzuki, and rather than buying Maruti Suzuki car. So it's not the advice that pie chart is going to give all the time, depending on the user's profile. Let's say the guy has been on a expense tracking module with us, and he has certain targets of saving. The guy has already achieved that saving, or let's say just 10-20% to achieve the 100% saving, and the kind of opportunity cost that this guy has, all of it is fitting in place such that I can suggest him that, okay, go ahead, buy this car, because right now you have you have done enough saving, you have flexibility. There are no immediate let's say goals in 6-12 months which will be compromised if you're buying this car, or let's say buying an iPhone or whatever. So just go ahead and do it. So that kind of, people have all this doubts when they are doing some high ticket purchases ki karu nahi karu, kya hoga, kal kya hoga, am I going to incur some some surprise expenses or all of that. So taking all of that into account, it is going to advise.
Great. That's great.
And it is also very real time also. Okay, like for example, let's say whatever you are doing, you want to do some goal planning or retirement planning or something, and you've already done that with pie chart. Okay, pie chart has given you certain framework, this kind of investments and all of that, but it is real time. It is taking real time data of the micro and macroeconomic factors. It is also taking into consideration your personal spending habits and the changes in that habits. Let's say today you have kind of planned that, okay, I want to retire at 45, and you made a plan, but 5 years down the line your spending pattern changes, your own personal preferences changes. So this model is going to take into account all of that, and it will keep rebalancing that plan. It will keep highlighting to you. In fact, it will give you, at every point in time, it will give you multiple scenarios that, okay, in this kind of scenario, this is what you are going to achieve in a certain time frame to achieve that goal, versus the different scenarios. So it is very, very intelligent and very adaptive system.
Sure. Just again, a slightly sensitive topic, but I've been hearing you, a lot of artificial intelligence has been built, a lot of machine learning to answer user queries. There has been a lot of speculation around artificial intelligence sooner or later replacing, jobs for humans. What's your take on that? Do you think that this is going to have an impact on the physical manpower needed, or do you think this is going to complement?
See, it is definitely going to displace some jobs, and that is the concern with AI in all the industries, not just fintech. And let's talk about ourselves in the finance industry. Let's say tomorrow the user decides that I want to take advice from PyChat and not from a banking RM or a agent, or that nearby agent which he had been taking advice from. I think user is the king, right? Customer is the king. If he has decided, then there must be a reason that this must be more efficient than the existing systems, right? And we have seen that. I mean, there were definitely some inefficiencies in the system. We know about the financial literacy rates in India. We know the kind of penetration that we have, despite all this big banks, their chain of distributors, agents, and all of that being there for so long. And we know what kind of mis-selling is happening out there in the market, right? So there is definitely going to be some displacement, and the reason is there were inefficiencies in the system, and with technological advancement, these inefficiencies have to go away. Now, talking about the socialist aspect of it, yeah, there are some jobs getting displaced and all, but I think it is going to create much more jobs than it is going to displace. All right, that has happened with all the technologies in the past, right? And it's going to happen similar way, I feel, in this case as well.
Great. As a founder, you would have a very large vision for Pi. You would see it, I'm sure, to start with the top 10 companies in India and then globally. What do you think the brand Pi's promise to your customers is? What is that one brand promise that you want to really, really make as a big brand proposition?
So the main brand proposition that we stand for is an unbiased and hyper personalized advice. And that is the main problem statement with which I started, right? I told you that there was no personalization in advice. It was all generic. Plus, there has been a lot of mis-selling, commission-oriented, rampant mis-selling that has been happening. So the idea has always been that, I want to give an unbiased advice to my user. It is not motivated by any any inherent interest of mine. I am not going to suggest to the user which I am not going to buy for myself. So and the personalization aspect of it. Now, with this proposition, yes, obviously we are starting out in India. This product has been built in India by Indians for Indians. So we are starting here in India, but we have made it in such a way that it's just it's highly scalable. Even if I want to go to any of the foreign countries, the only thing I need to do is take their regulatory license, do some data around that particular country, and I can be live in that country in probably 6 months or whatever that regulatory timelines are there in those countries. So it's a highly scalable product. So it has been built with a global vision, but yeah, starting with India.
No, that's great. So a couple of takeaways for me, at least. One, of course, we're moving from an era of personalization to hyper personalization. That's a big one. And second, I see a great underlying, I would say, philosophy that you guys are building Pi with, is that you're essentially shifting the power to the consumer, right? You're not letting any biases come in between. There are no middlemen, there are no agents, there's no monetary kickbacks basis which a particular product or service is being suggested. It's more neutral.
Yeah.
The choice or the power, like I said, is with the consumer. So I think that's a great start to a great company build for Indians.
Sure, thank you.
So Rakesh, quickly shifting on, I would want to do a nice rapid fire with you. So if you want to take a couple of minutes, you can ready yourself up. But then we'll get into some rapid fire questions.
Sure.
You can have very short, crisp answers, like maybe a word or two, and that should suffice.
All right.
Okay, my first question is, if not Pi, what would have been Rakesh up to?
I think music. I love music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Stocks or real estate?
Stocks.
Stocks or gold?
Stocks. In fact, I would say mutual funds, not even stocks.
Mutual funds or real estate?
Mutual funds.
All right. So hands down, you're a markets investor. So I think we at Equentis also have been, on this journey to essentially handhold Indian consumers, to democratize wealth creation in India. And of course, we also propagate long-term investing. And same like you started your journey maybe 10 years after spending time with as an investment banker and trying to do something which is neutral, which is unbiased, and which essentially helps the consumer take a better decision. I think Equentis plays a critical role in advising them right. Of course, in your model, it's more AI driven. In our model, it's highly customized and, like you said, hyper personalized, basis your risk appetite, basis your personal life goals, and basis your investable corpus. We essentially advise you what stocks to buy, what proportion to buy, and how do you build generational wealth of it. So picking up from that, what's your favorite city, Bombay or Bangalore?
Mumbai.
IIT or IIM, which one do you like the most?
I think my heart lies at IIT.
IIT.
Yeah.
All right, great. Indian cuisine or international cuisine?
Indian.
Which Indian cuisine?
I'm from Rajasthan, so I love the traditional Rajasthani food.
Oh, lovely.
Be it, let's say, dal bati or all of that. So I love that.
Great. Last question, Rakesh. what's your overall take on the Indian financial ecosystem? Where do you see this headed? What's the future? If you could share some trends that you've been observing, I think it'll be a great takeaway.
Sure. Indian financial ecosystem, see, it's been maturing a lot in last 5-7 years, especially. There has been a lot of fintechs coming up. The financial inclusion part of it, which all of us have been working towards, be it ramping up the financial literacy or the penetration of all of these products. The traditional as well as the new age players have played their own role. I think despite all the numbers which are not so promising, but I think we are moving in the right direction. Because of the under penetration which is there, there is a huge scope for all the players out there. The market is so big, so we are poised for a long growth here. And especially coming up with advanced technologies like AI and all, that distant dream which was there, that you want to take financial education, financial products to the last mile, be it in, let's say, tier 3, tier 4 town and all of that I think is not very far now.
Great. I think that was a great conversation, Rakesh. Thank you so much for coming over, and we would ensure that our viewers can benefit the most from your views and from your Pi app.
Sure.
Wishing you all the very best and all the success in life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for watching and being with us. We hope that this was inspiring and of course does push you to think out of the box, take that leap of faith, and to take that step that pushes you from an employee to being an entrepreneur. Thank you, Rakesh.
Thank you.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.